Bienvenidos una vez más al canal de MeriStation. Hoy os traemos una entrevista con David F. Sandberg, el director de Until Dawn, la película basada en el videojuego de PlayStation que se estrena este próximo 25 de abril, así que no os la perdáis. Dentro vídeo.
What is your feeling about the opportunity to adapt a video game like Until Dawn into a movie?
I was very excited. I think, Gary and Blair, who wrote the script, did a great job in not trying to recreate the movie, because the game, because the game was already so much like a movie. And instead sort of expanding on the universe, which they did with the script. I thought that was the right thing to do. And I love this whole thing about every night being like a new horror genre or a new horror thread, because it enabled me to get to do all these horror things that I've been wanting to do forever. Working with practical effects and blood and gore and monsters, and try out genres I'd never tried before, like slasher or found footage, which I ended up loving.
What was your favorite subgenre while doing it?
I was surprised to find that how much I loved the slasher part of it, because I've never been like a huge slasher fan. I mean, Halloween is awesome, and I've enjoyed slashers, but it hasn't been like my favorite subgenre. But making it and sort of seeing how it turned out, like that first night, I really loved it. And now I kind of want to do more of it. And same with the found footage. I'd never done that before, and had a blast doing it.
So how did you come up with the idea of the time loop?
I mean, that was Gary and Blair. And I think it was brilliant because, the game, one of the fun things is that you can replay it and make different choices and get different outcomes and see different deaths. And how do you do that in a movie that's not interactive? So this idea of sort of the time loop made it more like the game, where you can sort of retry and get different deaths and things like that.
So of course this is a different story, but we see elements of the game, like for example the wedding or the concept of surviving Until Dawn.
Yeah.
Why did you choose those things over other ones?
Well, I think that the important things were Psycho as well, and the Wendigos, because they're such a big part of the game, and of course the character of Hill, who's in the movie as well as the game. But then, and the game does dabble in other genres as well. There is some supernatural elements to it that just, well, no, I don't want to spoil it, but it's like there's some supernatural things in there too. So it felt very true to the game. To keep those things and then just add other stuff on top of it.
So through decisions, players are able to change the destiny of the characters. Obviously, this is a movie and you don't have a player to interact. But what is the weight of decisions in this movie?
I mean, it's it's all about the sort of the characters' growth, because all their decisions sort of lead them to learning more about themselves and sort of figuring this place out and trying to come up with a way to make it Until Dawn. So yeah, and the important thing though was that we didn't want them to just be able to die over and over again forever, and just, you have to have stakes. So that's why we had to have this thing of them really being affected by the deaths and starting to change and transform, so they only have so many nights to do it. But yeah, I mean, the Clover really has a great arc. She starts out as sort of very depressed, like suicidal, and then from dying she learns that she wants to live.
Okay, last question. What could you say about the main characters?
I mean, it's very much an ensemble. It's a great group of characters, and they're not sort of quite your typical horror movie characters or like a slasher characters where you have like, oh, this guy that we hate and this guy who's like the nerd or whatever. Like they are kind of well-rounded, because like we have the character of Abe, who does some questionable things, but he's also quite smart. Like he's the one who says like, no, we should try to get out of here, which is like, yes, that's what you should try to do. They don't succeed, but it's the right idea. So it was nice to have these characters that have their, they're fully fleshed out. They're not sort of caricatures.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's great talking.
Bye.
Bye.